James Witkowski is talking to Boston police detectives. Cops brought him in after his DNA matched swabs taken from Lena Bruce's body more than 2 decades earlier. Witkowski is telling detectives about his sexual exploits, including tying up women. A similar MO as to the crime scene where Lena was found.
Did you ever leave any of these girls still bound up and leave? You did? How'd they get free?
Boy,
with your boy?
Yeah, Juice.
Tell me about a couple of them.
He would set it up, we'd go over there, tie him up, bind him,
What do you mean bind
spit
them
on
up?
him, like tie a sock around their hands, not tight, but you know, loose enough where they can't move it. We used to do this all the time.
Sergeant William Dugan then circles back to the photo of Lena.
I already showed you this picture. I'm going to show it to you again. Do you know that woman?
Like I said, she's pretty.
There's her identification card.
That's why you asked me that. Lena Bruce. I don't know.
You've not had sex with this woman that you know?
Like I said, if I had sex with her, it was consensual.
Okay.
But I don't remember her.
But you have...
No memory of it, no confession. Cops have Witkowski's DNA found on Lena Bruce's body. But is there anything more tying him to the crime scene?
We got back to headquarters afterwards. I'm going over everything, and I couldn't find a report from anything inside the wallet. I could find the report that they were negative for fingerprints on the outside of the wallet.
Remember, investigators that night found some condoms, baby oil in a wallet in the front yard.
So I called down to Leighton Prince, and I says, I can't find this report. Can you look through your file and see what's there? And she called me back a very short time later. She says, oh my God, Billy. She says, it looks like they didn't process the little scraps of paper in there. What do you want me to do? Process them right now. And she did it right away. And lo and behold, on one of those little scraps of paper was one of James Witkowski's fingerprints.
James Witkowski is arrested and charged with first-degree murder.
We believe that Mr. Witkowski and his group of friends knew the comings and goings of Miss Bruce and her roommate, and the evidence suggested on that fateful weekend, perhaps Mr. Witkowski was sitting on the stairs and saw the roommate leave. He entered that apartment and found Miss Bruce. There was an opportunity to not only steal from the apartment, but horrendously and in a vicious way.
It is only his DNA found in her body. I think is very powerful. Everything was pointing very clearly that James Witkowski was both the rapist and the murderer of Lena Bruce.
But the district attorneys still face challenges in prosecuting the case.
One of the challenges in a case like this that's 20 plus years old is that we had trouble finding people who were still alive, including the medical examiner, because the medical examiner was dead, and there's a term in law that we have to authenticate the evidence. You can't just put it in because it has something on the envelope that says it's Lena Bruce's fingernails or fingernail swab. Somebody needs to authenticate it.
2 years later, the case goes to trial. The courtroom is packed with Lena's siblings, sorority sisters, and best friend, Barbara. Sadly, Lena's parents died some years before and wouldn't get to see their daughter's accused killer in court. So what was James Witkowski's defense?
Mr. Witkowski's defense in this case was consensual intercourse with Lena Bruce, and that somebody else must have killed her.
The notion that Lena Bruce, who kind of limited her social life to recent college graduates, accomplished young people who are active in the community, the notion that she would ever have a consensual sexual encounter with, someone who's, sitting around drinking alcohol and smoking pot, or, using cocaine or whatever the heck he was doing, it just struck us as absurd.
In Hagen's closing argument, he describes the last tragic moments of Lena's life.
She had a horrible death to close somebody's airways to the point where they lose consciousness, that it takes a minute to do that. And it takes more than 2 minutes, ultimately, or thereabouts, to kill somebody if their airways are completely blocked. I did have the jury sit there for a minute, and I just stared at them. And I think that really, a minute is an awful long time if you think of the terror that she was going through at the time.
The case goes to the jury. Then, after 3 days of deliberations,
the jury convicted him of murder in the first degree.
James Witkowski's sentence, life with no chance of parole.
But it was extremely rewarding to finally, 25 years after this, terrible crime, to bring some justice to Lena, her family, and her friends.
Rewarding and bittersweet.
Lena's mother and father went to their graves without knowing what happened to their daughter. Never got to experience this coming away with some level of justice.
What a tragedy it is that she was a superstar. She was going places. And it was taken from her in her own bed, and not a damn thing she can do about it. I mean, think of that. Oh my God. That's it.
For Barbara, the past 25 years have been incredibly hard, but she now knows the best way to honor Lena's memory.
I have a lot more peace that now we know what happened. I feel that I can start to come out of my cave now. I want to live life. I really want to live life. I want to enjoy my life, because she wouldn't want that. She wouldn't want me to be sad anymore.
One interesting note here, Witkowski may have been caught years earlier if he lived in a different state. Massachusetts is one of only 15 states where a defendant is not required to submit a DNA profile until they are convicted of a felony and sent to prison. In other states, DNA samples are required at the time of arrest, much like a fingerprint. In this case, Witkowski was arrested 7 times in the past 15 years, but never sent to prison, so he was never required to submit a DNA sample. I'm Chris Hansen. If you like this story, make sure you tune in every day to Crime Watch Daily. You can find where the show airs in your city at crimewatchdaily.com. Watch it live or record it on your DVR and watch it at night. And to all those criminals out there, remember, we are watching.